Hey, Jack, thank you for taking the time this afternoon to meet with me. As someone who spent 15 years in senior positions in state government, I certainly appreciate the challenges that come with public service. For that reason, I'm happy to be here representing ADP. With 810,000 clients in 140 countries around the globe, ADP is the clear leader, not just in payroll, but in human capital management. And of those 810,000 clients, more than 5,000 are public sector clients. Here's a sampling of just a few of those public sector clients. So thanks for taking the time to meet today. A school superintendent in Virginia likes to say, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The simplicity of that message resonates with me for two reasons. First, we live in a world of hyper-specialization. Those who do well at keeping the main thing, are always focused on the target. Second, in a world of limited resources, it can be extremely difficult to apply that kind of focus. We're simply pulled in too many different directions. In other words, keeping the main thing is easier said than done. I used to think that the main thing for NASA was space shuttles and rockets. I was wrong. In 2011, NASA retired the space shuttle fleet. These days, NASA effectively Ubers to space. NASA determined that how the astronauts get to space was not the main thing for them. Kind of shocking change from me, from my way of thinking about NASA. But for them, for NASA, the main thing is science. Fortunately, in the school setting, the main thing isn't all that difficult to determine. Every school leader I talk with tells me the same thing. The main thing for a school district is to improve student outcomes. Of course, in order to focus on the main thing, we always need to overcome some challenges. And in my experience, I see two common challenges in the public sector, in particular in schools. Without a doubt, the number one challenge is limited resources, both human and financial. And if you happen to be fortunate enough to be in a position to be hiring, the competition for talent is fierce. The second big challenge that I see, and Deloitte, a study in 2019 affirms this analysis or observation, is that legacy technology is a huge challenge in the public sector. Part of the challenge is that these older solutions actually cost more to maintain. And the people who know how to manage and maintain them, incidentally, are retiring. And the other part of the challenge is that these systems no longer meet your needs in the year 2020. Now, I recognize that the Baltimore City Public Schools is a little different. The city itself has suffered through some years of declining population and with it declining enrollment. And of course, when it comes to schools, declining enrollment inevitably shrinks the budget and leads to staff cuts. And in that environment, it can be a real challenge to positively impact student outcomes. But there are some things that we can do to help you save money, help you engage your faculty, and positively impact student outcomes. I know it sounds a little crazy, but what you do in the back office can and does actually have an impact on the classroom. It all starts with some change. Consider the legacy technology. Your existing system is leaking money. When your solutions exist in silos, those silos get stitched together in ways that are terribly inefficient, ways that create seams. According to PwC, managing and maintaining those seams can cost organizations the size of Baltimore City Public Schools about $2 million a year. I'd suggest that we find a way to plug that hole together. But the system as a whole isn't the only thing that leaks money. The individual components cost you money as well. Consider time and attendance. When time and attendance is manual, as it is for you, your employees end up with an extra 10 hours, all of those unearned. And those unearned hours actually kind of add up. For an organization the size of Baltimore City Public Schools, that's another $2.5 million lost. And I can point to costs associated with your payroll, HR, and benefits systems the way they exist today. But costs associated with your legacy system extend far beyond financial considerations. If you're not automating leave administration, for example, you're certainly losing money. But as important, that fact alone creates a negative impact on the classroom. You see, teacher attendance is correlated with student outcomes. The more the teacher is in the classroom, the better the student performs. And the inverse is true too. In that respect, you have a double bottom line, financial and academic. So as you look forward and consider the challenges that are in front of you, the question becomes, what's your strategy? One path is to continue with an ERP approach. And if that's the way you want to go, ADP is able to help in a variety of ways. We look forward to it. On the other hand, if you decide you want to continue to use Oracle for financials and wanted to move HR to an integrated HCM platform, we can help there too. Frankly, we can make a bigger impact here. But the fact is, we can help independent of which strategy you pursue. So for next steps and in conclusion, I'd just like to say, maybe it's not the main thing. Maybe the main thing is too big to tackle right now. But let's come up with one thing we can do. One service, one process, one solution we can improve. One thing that better saves you money, one thing that makes you more productive, one thing that leads to better student outcomes. To get started on that one thing, I'd suggest we schedule a discovery analysis call to understand where you are today, where you'd like to be tomorrow, and how we can help. This is a meeting where I'd bring in a business consultant with a technical background to help map out your current processes. Whatever path you take forward, I'm confident you will find value in this report that's generated from the meeting. How does the discovery analysis call sound as a next step?